What's up, everyone? Today we're doing a cold outreach rapid fire episode. We've got 11, count them, 11 questions coming at you all about sales outreach.
I'm Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io, the best automated software on planet Earth when it comes to doing outreach by email.
Boom shakalaka. I'm Jack, Chief Lead Generation Officer at salesbread.com, where we help B2B companies generate at least one lead per day. If you want to know what's going on, what's working in the outreach space, send me a message. Go to salesbread.com/contact, and I'll show you what's working. We can set up a short 15-minute chat. With that, let's go through some rapid fire questions, starting with boom. Number one, what's your take on greetings? Should I use hi, hello, hey, or something else?
That's a good question. I know you don't use any, right? It's like
I go straight with first name. I don't waste anyone's time with hey, hello, any of that. I used to say howdy, but now I don't do that either.
howdy. I wonder, like, if you're starting asking those questions, it looks like greedy, small details. I don't think that's what's going to make or break your campaign. I think that's basically it. But do you think it will?
Well, I know that I don't want to sound like every other cold email. And I know that every other cold email says hi, first name. So it's a small way to stand out by just going straight for the first name. It's also usually how I address colleagues and clients. I just say, name, here's what's going on. So my cold emails look like that. Number two, what's the simplest way to test a multi-channel campaign? I'm going to take this one, Jeremy. The simplest way is just to add a phone step. You could try it in the very beginning for the absolute simplest way to see if multi-channel is right. Just add a task or a dial or whatever you're using, trigger that call, and then start them on email. Can't get simpler than that.
Sorry, Jack, I don't get that. What do you mean exactly by adding like a fun step? Like, even if it's a manual step, but it's like what, me calling my prospect and then figuring out what that multi-channel works?
Yeah, exactly. So if you wanted to see if adding, let's say, a multi-channel approach, meaning not just email, not just LinkedIn, not just phone, but a combo.
So your proposition is if you add another channel, go for the fun. Is that what you're saying? So that's an easy feedback.
I'm saying the simplest way that you can test multi-channel is by adding just a phone step where yes, you're going to cold call and you should have a little script to help you out, but that's the simplest way to get started with multi-channel. And I do recommend that.
If I may say, actually, a few years ago, someone was extremely successful by just sending an email and right after just dialing straight away and just saying like, hey, just wanted to make sure you received my email. That's all, as a conversation starter. So it works. It's good.
Booyah. All right, next question. How can I find better prospects using Sales Navigator? So I'll keep this quick because this is rapid fire. But in my book, Sales Navigator is best used to find individuals, not to target companies. I think it has stunning data on the personnel side, lackluster data on the account side. So what I do, I always upload a list of the accounts that I've pre-qualified. And then I use Sales Navigator to find the right people, given titles, keywords, that kind of thing. That's how you can get the most out of Sales Navigator.
Yep. Nothing else to add.
Next question. Is it possible to build a list of my competitors' customers? If so, how? I'm chewing bubblegum over here. I'm wondering. Okay, I'm going to jump in.
You're the expert in prospecting, so go for it.
So yes, you can. If you happen to be selling a competing software that is public facing, such as WordPress, yes, it's super easy to find every single website that uses WordPress, right? Of course. What about those that are not public facing, something that doesn't live on a website that technology can be extracted, right? There's a couple of ways. For the purpose of this rapid fire, I might direct you to the people following that company on social, be it Facebook, Twitter. Those are my two favorites right now. Some interaction on LinkedIn helps, where you can just get a bunch of profiles, although they will need to be vetted and it won't have 100% confidence. But that's a decent place to start. You should find some customers there. And for the let's say agencies, or you want to see more of the B2B clients that might be up for grabs, you can go to a homepage or a testimonials page of that competitor's website. There's always going to be 5, 10, 15 different companies that have or have been working with the company that you can grab. So the short answer is yes, and there's a few ideas.
Got it. Testimonials, definitely a good one. Sometimes you have also some websites that also aggregate reviews. So sometimes you can find it. Look also on reviews on YouTube. And sometime, depending again on the product, you will also find it as a skill in the LinkedIn section, like, I'm good at that, in sort of their resume. Like we start, getting a few people saying like they're really great at quick mail. And so if you see what company they're at, then you can potentially grab that. Just don't do that. It's a terrible idea, actually. Just don't do.
All right, next. If all I can find is an info at or a team at email, should I still try and contact that prospect?
Well, I
Jeremy,
think I will. If I answer, I will steal this from you. So it's probably best if you say it.
So it would be a shame to let a great prospect slip through the cracks just because all you had was an info at. I may not hammer that email address with 7 touches, but if they're a potential great account, I do go after that and use what I can.
Yeah, or what you can do is, and that happens, even actually last week, someone just contacted our support and say, hey, what's your email of your founder? I got something to tell them. So if they have a support online, you can do that. Likewise, you could do it with a mouse and whisker, just going to their contact form, asking them some question, like, do you guys do X? And usually they will reply to you, and that will be most likely a human that replies to you, and then you can engage them into a conversation. That will be my 2 tips.
There you go. Good 2 tips. Okay. What should I do when a prospect says, sounds cool, but it's not a good time to consider this right now? Please don't let that person leave the conversation, whether that's on the phone or through email or through LinkedIn messaging, before asking them, okay, sounds great, so that we can stay in touch. Can I do 2 things? 1, you want to see if you can get them on the newsletter. And 2, right then and there, find out if you can follow up in 3 or 6 months with them. It's so much easier to get a reply when somebody wants that message from you than it is to just reach out kind of randomly. If you have their permission to reach out, mention that in the email, schedule the email follow-up, and you're far more likely to get the reply, especially if you've done your part in adding them to the newsletter with their permission before you let them off the hook. So you say, okay, great, just so we can stay in touch, we have this newsletter that we send out bi-monthly on tips for X, which will help you Y. Is it okay if I add your name there so that we can stay in touch? Nobody says no to that. So yeah, a couple things. Jeremy, what do you got?
It's good. Rapid fire.
Rock and
Let's
roll.
move on.
Okay. When does personalization become too creepy? Like, how much research should I actually do before I've gone too far? And I have been guilty of going too far, so I feel uniquely qualified for this question too. My approach now that I've learned the creepy lesson is you want to use personalization to comment on things that this prospect has publicly shared with the world with the intention of the world seeing it. So yes, it is okay to see an interesting photo in their LinkedIn profile and use that. Yes, it is okay to see a post that they commented on a week ago. No, it is not okay to go to that person's Facebook page that was not linked on their LinkedIn profile contact section and find a family photo from 3 years ago where he was learning to surf and make that connect. That's too far. That's too far, and you will.
Did you recover from that shark attack, kind of thing?
Yeah, if they didn't want the world to know that, don't mention that shark attack. Yeah.
Did you grow your finger back? It's like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like.
Although that may not be too creepy, right? That could be like, coming, I don't know.
Yeah. So look, at the end of the day, some prospects appreciate that, but I'm going to put them in a very unique bucket where I don't assume that most of the world wants that.
Jack,
You
can we
know,
just agree that if I, reference to something in your street, like where you live or your kids or your family or something else, then that is probably like too far.
Beep, beep. Okay, red alert going off. But the good news is, makes your job personalizing a lot easier, where you don't and shouldn't have to reach a whole lot further than their publicly shared social channels and the company about page. That should keep you covered for 99% of them. All right.
Okay.
Next question. My open rate is below 20%. What's the first thing I should do to fix this?
Can I answer it? Pause your inbox. I think that's the first thing I would do. The first thing I would do is pause the inbox. You may, if you have an auto warmer tool, or if you're using QuickMail auto warmer or any other auto warmer, you may still leave that running, so that keeps some activity on your inbox. And hopefully after 3 weeks, then you should get it back to where it is. But that's one step, obviously.
Yeah. So
Jack?
after you pause it, you need to review this ultimate question, which is, if you were on the receiving end of this email, would it make your day better? Generally make your day better. So that answers, are you the right person to receive this? Are you sure 6 people at the same company need to see the same message? Or even, are you sure that company needs to hear it? And the message itself, are you being a little selfish? Can you give a little bit more value in that email? Are you droning on about yourself and your background for the first 3 lines? So the targeting and the message can be cleaned up so that more people want to engage with it. And
you're so old
next
school,
question.
Jack. It's just like spray and pray, right? That's the approach. But
No.
Jack, that's a great comment. Definitely just a little bit of introspection, and by all means, please, after those 3 weeks, when your inbox is better, don't come back to as it was before, because otherwise you're gonna come back into the same place. So, like, just say, spend a little time to review and start slowly again.
Boom shakalaka. How much do I need to know in order to be good with cold email, to succeed with the channel?
That's I'm going to answer this one, because that's a question I have a few. Every time I go into, well, when I go into a call, a support, a customer success call, very often when people are starting, they're intimidated by all the things they need to do. And it's true, as expert cold email, you need to do like so many things. And so I tell them, like, get out of your head. Don't keep on like, trying to figure out, like, should I use a 3-word for the subject line? Should I spend like,
should I use hi or hey?
Yeah, exactly. Well, for example, that's why that makes me laugh at the beginning. Or should I spend like 3 days? What's the ideal cadence and so on? And even for you haven't sent any single email. So I say, start small, think like you're reaching out to someone, and then, just do the minimum, bare minimum. Just like, say, a greeting line, a value proposition, and just a question. And if you limit yourself to just that, at least you'll have a base. And I think that's the most important thing. So do that. And obviously try to curate a little bit your list as to who you're contacting, making the best chances of them replying, because they would be interested. But basically, don't get out of your own head at some point, and get going. I think that's the most important, and then you can iterate.
Yeah, I'm going to share. Thanks for that, Jeremy. That was helpful. Something that you need to know in order to be good with cold email, to win at this channel, cold outreach in general, you need to figure out how to say what you need to say with brevity, without wasting 10 lines. You need to be able to condense a big idea into one sentence. And if you can work on one thing, it would be that. It's, how do you get 3 sentences to change somebody's day? And yeah, so keep working on shortening, editing, if you want to be good at cold email. Okay, Jeremy, this one, I'm really curious what you have in mind. What's hot this year for cold outreach?
Oh, yeah. So last year was personalization. And I'm actually surprised how.
Deliverability.
No, actually, personalization was
Yeah.
last year. Yeah. And I'm actually surprised how quickly that went. Like, it's not such a big topic anymore. So I don't know if people figure it out, or if people decide that it's not something they want to pursue. But yeah,
No,
we both know
people
that's
haven't
not
figured
true.
it out.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of weird. But right now, I think a lot of people are going like full on multi-channel. that's definitely where it's going this year. And that's going at a rapid pace, whether it's LinkedIn, phone call that you're mentioning, even Facebook, Twitter. It's just like, I don't know, for some reason, I think it's because they sort of like thought that they extracted as much value as they can from one channel, and they're trying to diversify, like trying to get multiple channels in order to get someone attention. I think that's my feeling, what it is at the moment.
Yep. Lately, what's hot with outreach, I've been having a lot of, well, success on LinkedIn, which hasn't always been our story at SalesBread, but if it works, we'll do it. And yeah, for us right now, I'm going to say, if you haven't tried LinkedIn outreach, you probably should dip your toes in the water. It fits into exactly what you said, Jeremy. Multi-channel is getting harder and harder to ignore for sales teams that want to stay up to date on what's really working here. And that will bring us to our final question. Will AI ever replace humans with cold outreach?
I want you to take on this. This is
it already has. It already has.
Yeah, exactly.
It already has, and it always will from here on out.
Okay. Well, I think right now, especially with the GPT-3 or something like that, the actual thing that this AI can actually say is pretty amazing. And so I don't think we're that far off from seeing real robots selling to other robots because our inbox will also be taken by other robots. And it's kind of like the auto warmer stuff. Everyone just like generates some fake noise. And in fact, no one else is actually, no humans are there.
Yeah. So I think that may be a couple months into the future. What is definitely happening right now is the people that reach out, the CEO that reaches out to you on LinkedIn, that's not the CEO reaching out to you. It may be personalized. It may be the perfect message that he would sign off on, she would sign off on, but I'm pretty sure they're not sending you that outreach message. They have an assistant or an agency.
Yep.
Salesbread.com that helps. And so it really throws a wrench into the ethics of outreach, where people aren't always who they seem. And when you add AI into the equation, it's just like, I don't know. It should be an interesting and very quickly developing 2021 though.
Yeah, next year, 2022 for AI, right? Taking over. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, for right now, I'm enjoying my human powered car. I'm still holding onto my steering wheel with dear life, but we'll see how long that lasts.
All right. Thanks, Jack. Great cast.
Great cast. And if you've watched or listened to this far,
it
means you might be super excited to check out Jeremy and I's cold email masterclass, where we basically did a brain dump and put a bunch of videos and content on all of the stuff we didn't get to cover in the many episodes of the podcast. That's can be found at, give them the link, Jeremy.
Quickmail.io/course.
Boom shakalaka. All right, Jeremy, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jack.